Hello, welcome to our program today. We are going to look at survival and thriving and helping them to thrive rather than just survive. If you are on this live, we are saying welcome. Let us know where you're joining us from. We will be happy to have you contribute. It's an interactive process. We want families to share with us what is happening, how they want to be supported, what they need from people around them. Because it has become very obvious that people do not identify with what they don't know. So when people get to know what is happening, they know how they can tackle it. But as long as they don't understand what is happening, what you're going through perhaps, or what your child or your family is going through, we are talking about children or families with children with additional needs. When people don't understand what is happening to you, you don't expect them to be empathic. You don't expect them to understand because they don't understand. So today we are going to look at what families will require to move from just surviving to becoming a thriving family. Many times when we hear things like this, we tend to just look at financial aspects, surviving and thriving based on income level, economic situation. But yes, that is part of it, but it is not always the only thing that can make a family move from surviving to thriving. And when we look at special needs families with children with additional needs, we realize that much more than just financial support. These families sometimes require more than just financial support to move from just surviving to thriving families. So today we are going to also be asking you to make your own contributions. What are those things you think that could move a family from just a surviving family to a thriving family? Now, as parents, as neighbors, as people that are just in the same society, as carers, yes, as professionals, each of these people I have mentioned have their own roles to play in this journey. So when a family is just merely moving through, it becomes a big challenge both to the parents, the carers, and to the child. Because at the end of the day, every form of pressure kind of comes down to the child. Remember in one of our sessions, we talked about how as a carer, once your mood changes, the mood of the whole family changes. So likewise, once the parents are in that mode, is a survival mode, in that mode of I'm trying to find the right word. That's deprivation mode. That mode where the lack is so obvious. No matter how much you try to patch it up, no matter how much you try to make it less about the child, no matter how much you try to cushion the impact on the child, it's usually not easy because at the end of the day, the child with additional needs is the one who is the receiving end of everything. So today we are saying, how does a family with additional needs children, especially the girl child, how do they move from just survival mode to thriving mode? Now I'm going to look at just one aspect. More will come up as we continue the discussion. But the aspect that has always been a pointer for us, being that we are discussing the girl child, assuming a family with an additional needs girl child, that they have come to that point where the child begins to uh, menstruate, which is a major challenge. And it happens that this child is a child that cannot just manage any form of, pad that the girl child could use for their menstruation. Can you now begin to imagine if the family is just the kind of family that is just getting by? There are options they won't even consider. Even if it is the best option for the child, they cannot consider it because apparently they will not be able to afford it. So it is one thing that I am here and I am doing what I can to survive. And it is another thing that my child is having a challenge and I know what I can do to help them in that challenge and I just cannot do it. As a parent, it's like the lowest end of it. It's like the most annoying thing to happen to you as a parent. It's the most frustrating, most excruciatingly painful thing to happen to you as a parent, that you know exactly what your child needs, but you can't afford to give that child. I have had situations where I have gone for consultations because post-COVID, is it post or pre-COVID, my consultations involved visiting parents at their home so that you can observe the child, in their natural environment, which is most times the child playing in their sitting room, or or I could just go out with them when they are in the park. I'll just tag along and just observe how the child is interacting with the environment. And while we are there, I will now be, discussing with the parents, identifying areas of support and areas of strength. And it is painful that on such occasions, sometimes after the assessment, we will identify what the child needs. But even for that day, as I'm sitting there, you realize that if you don't do something, this child may not even have the next meal. And you're not just talking about what your visit is worth, but you are now worried about how you are leaving this family, where is the next meal coming from. So your pay has become a secondary, in fact a tertiary issue. The primary issue at that point will be what is this child going to eat the next meal. And then subsequently, as you're discussing with the parents, what you're discussing is, has anything come up recently? Is there any means of income that is coming up? How do we help you? What can you do? Who do we know? How do we fix you up somewhere so that you can at least be earning basic, income? Some of these times, because I am a nutritionist, it's painful that the child is eating the very things that are not right for them, or that the child is not getting the right type of nutrition they need. and you're there trying to like modify. So in that occasion, there is no basis, because usually it's when you see what is on the ground, you are talking about how you can modify it to suit the needs of the child. So when a family is simply surviving, you realize that there is no basis at all for you to even come in as a professional to work with. You, a professional, will be the one scratching to find a base for the family. So, welcome, Tina. Tina, you're welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, today we are talking about how we can support families to move from just surviving to thriving.
All right.
Yes, and I am looking at examples of how families can be really desperately in need, that even as professionals, you come in and you don't even see, like, okay, talking about me now as a nutritionist, I said sometimes I go to a family and you are there to like say, these are the right nutrition that this child needs, but you go there and you realize that the child does not even have food for that day. You know, you realize that
Yeah.
the family don't even know where the next meal is dropping from. So what are you modifying? You don't even have a base. You don't even have, when it comes to you now, just because you are in this country, we are talking about maybe in countries where there are no systems in place. You could visit a home and you are talking about therapy tools, and you know
Mm.
that the family cannot even afford to clothe the child properly, and you are talking about therapy tools. So it becomes a whole lot of pressure. It becomes um, a whole lot of uncomfortable situation for both the parents. So at the beginning, I was saying how this transition from thriving to from surviving to thriving, how the whole situation is affecting the professional, the child, the family, the society, everybody around. So I want
Mm.
to just hear your own, just chip in something. Let's keep this discussion going.
I think families, for families to thrive, not just survive, we have to learn how to forgive and also encourage them so that they know that they're not just surviving, but
Yeah.
they thriving. So thriving means that it is you who you've been able to move from one state to another, and it does not understand sounds. Parent, you've been in a position where any little sound, your child, it triggers your child, but
Yeah.
then you've been able to manage where uh, when the child not really calm the child down totally, but there's certain you have to see yourself that it's not just like it's an achievement where you've been able to situation to a certain level. So you have to see as a parent that you are gradually getting to the point, and then with other support from other professional, other people, you'll be able to get the solution. So
Yes.
parents should be in a position where no matter what little they've been able to add to their children's life, irrespective of how difficult the situation may be, they shouldn't just think it's a survival and let them feel that they are thriving and they are not just surviving. Is that's not being judgmental, but rather
Exactly.
encouraging the parents, rather letting them know how important what they've done to their child or the situation is very helpful. And so too in the parent age. And
Wow.
that thing parents can also do, or we can also do for parents to know that they are not just surviving, or parents can do so that, or reflect on what they have done, is to also understand um, what the child is going through.
Yeah.
Because some people don't really understand what their children are going through, and may mistake it for other things. But then if you understand what your child is going through, and then you know that this is not an easy one, but you've been able to manage, letting them confidence that, oh, I'm not just surviving this situation, but I'm thriving. I'm making a progress.
Really, your insights are all. I think Adesua is putting up her hand.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Good to have you. I know you've always been there.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. I think what our wonderful staff have just explained to us, Mr. Tina, is very important. This
Yeah.
happened to me personally.
Yeah.
I was just, I was just sharing with some of my friends how about 2 weeks ago I felt very good with myself.
That's
Uh,
good.
yeah, because I went through a very tight situation and I was having a lot of backlog. And I realized that once I was able to clear up the backlog, and I felt very good,
Yeah.
you know, and something was like, but there are people doing it greater, but this is what I did. You understand? So
Yes.
I'm just trying to emphasize and buttress the points. Tina was explaining to us about acknowledging the efforts
Yes.
you have put as a caregiver, as a parent. Acknowledge. Sometimes it seems that it's not enough. We always want to do more and more, and actually, there's always room for improvement. But the
Yes.
further you're there, the further you are. There are parents that have run away. There are parents that have choose to play the blame there, and you continue to system for your child, the advocate for your child.
Yes.
It's for you to acknowledge it and make people understand. It's not like you're asking for validation, but not allowing anybody to demonize your efforts
Yeah.
or trivialize it. Because some people can come with unsolicited advice. Oh, you should have done it this way. Oh, you didn't, if you have done this, if you have done that, but they're not
Yeah.
in your shoes. They don't know how challenging it is for you to move from one point to another. So you acknowledging it and actually uh, encouraging yourself and your child is an opportunity for you to look back and say, oh, we are no longer where we used to be.
Exactly.
You know, we've moved forward, and there's a lot that we have achieved. Every milestone is worth celebrating.
Yes.
You know, it's worth celebrating. But I'm going to come in from the side of the system, from the side, the governmental system.
Yeah.
And if you're in a position of power and you're hearing us now, this is not about accusation. It's about developing the right policy, creating the right program that will support and alleviate the stress of families. I naturally, our sister Jema is always emphasizing on families from countries that does not have system in place
Yeah.
for families that are going through challenges. And I believe if you're in any governmental position or any community position, and you have a heart, a compassionate heart, you will know that everybody have a right to the national cake.
Yes.
And those families that are being ostracized by the community, by the society, by governments, the governmental system, we know it is wrong. So it's very important that systems be put in place to be able to help families from surviving, from scrapping. It is already challenging enough to have a child, because we can't continue to be like an ostrich, putting our head in the sand and just condemning the unfortunate situation. Oh, they are just being unfortunate. No. For a society to grow, there should be inclusion. And if you come across our video in any setting and you have been positioned in a place of power where you are able to influence policies, this is very important for you to take up and be a voice for the voiceless.
Your volume went down a bit. Did you do something?
Are you hearing me now?
I can hear you,
Maybe
but
somebody...
it went down. It kind of became
okay.
lower.
Maybe there was a call that come in. I didn't see it.
Okay.
So I'm just encouraging many that if you happen to be in a position, because it's easy to serve the rich, it's easy to serve the powerful, it's easy to serve the prominent people. But you know, when you have the capacity to be able to reach out to those that are struggling and to be able to create a policy that will bring a change to lives that are survived, whereby they are able to thrive. We've heard, as a professional nutritionist, that there are food that will aggravate the situation. She can't even begin to explain it because there are not even basics
Exactly.
to start with. So, a society that does not for its own grassroots, so to say, the most vulnerable, is a failing society. You understand?
Yeah.
And we can't say we are change makers when the vulnerables in our midst are being ostracized and isolated for one reason or the other. So this is an appeal from this platform to those that will come across and have the voice and the power to be able to create that change. That some of us are in the third world, we're still advocating, but 100 years ago, according to my research, when I was doing my thesis, this situation was being frowned on. Many families were being ostracized. They were being undermined. Some people were just being injected to die. But they have evolved. They have evolved. There's in most of this Western world, there's what they call equality policies. And there's all where equity comes in. You know, and because they have chosen to evolve. So wherever we are, whatever community or society, if we choose to be compassionate, if we choose to evolve, it does not take extra effort. It just takes a humanity. I think it's Martin Luther King that said that for one to be great, you don't need to be extremely rich.
Yeah.
You just need to have a heart. Big heart compassionate and empathetic to the situation of others. So we are not just about imposing it on parents or the caregivers or just the family, but we are calling upon the governmental bodies, the policies makers, those that have the ability to advocate, the power, because for a reason you have this power have been invested in you.
Yeah.
Some people that are talking today is because of the help they have received. They are able to boldly come out to be able to start giving the advice. Some of us have gone back to school to study these situations, and as we were explaining last week, we have even received some funding to be able to create an environment, a support system, to create an inclusive parents can have short break and just breathe and have a cup of tea without the children, because there are trained people that will have those children for a few hours. So this, and we have, I believe, in every society, we have rich people, we have influential people, we have the capacity to create the same opportunity to reach out. You understand? And to train people that can be able to instigate this change and influence this change.
Yeah.
So it's very important that for a family to move from a survivor mode to a thriving mode, we are going to need the parents to be acknowledging the efforts they are putting in, that they are making a difference. Because it's easy to just go into depression thinking that you are the what has happened to, if you were good enough, if you were doing more, if you were, it's easy to go down the rabbit hole. But we are telling you today that just breathe, acknowledge, give yourself a pat on the back. Okay, you're doing, because your solid presence is making a lot of difference in the life of your child. You might not understand it, but you are their safe place. You're the one. They might be misbehaving, they might be, you are like, oh my God, they have started, but because you're their safe place, you're their most trusted person, they can be themselves just around you. So you're doing well, and well done for how far you have come. And if you're a carer and you're a family that have been supporting,
you know why it is.
Yeah.
Yes, you go out of your way and the love for humanity. So you're doing well, and we thank you. But we want to take it further, because the reason we have the government in place, the influential people in place, is to be able to look out for the vulnerables. And if in your policies you have not included those that cannot speak for themselves, you failed.
Exactly.
Have failed woefully as a society, as a government, as a voice, as an influential person. You have failed woefully. So we are pleading to you, because it is easy to just say, because we are in the Western, they didn't start all over in one go.
Exactly.
They evolved because they choose to evolve. So if we are bringing this awareness, and if we are talking about the things that happens in the society that we are privileged to be in, the least that can be done is emulating the good things that is happening in other community or society, and be able to replicate it
in our own environment.
In our own environment, not just thinking that they are the fortunate one. So you have been, the power have been invested in you to protect the vulnerables. So it's very important in our policies, we should be inclusive.
Yeah.
We should make provision for those that have these conditions. Very important.
Exactly.
And I hope that everyone, that you have been privileged to hold a certain degree of power, to be able to influence law and policies. You will be able to take into consideration the challenges of those with neurodivergent children and additional needs. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you so much. We've had people joining us. Faith. I don't know if it's the Faith I know. But yeah, in any case, you're very welcome. Obiesta, do you have some words for us?
Bless you. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
I'm not really sure what the topic is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
If
that's fine. We are talking about supporting families to go from just surviving to thriving. And we have talked about the role that the family, the professionals can play. And Dr. Adeswa has emphasized so much on the role that policymakers, the government can play in supporting these families to thrive. I mean, not just surviving, but thriving in terms of helping to, create that inclusive environment in terms of policies, in terms of provisions, in terms of systems, making it purely inclusive where everybody's needs are taken into consideration, where the voiceless are given voice. And she categorically said, if you have a government where the voiceless are not heard, then it's a failure. So tonight or this evening, that is what we are discussing. We just want to know if you have like any contribution you can make in that area.
All right, thank you. For my experience, I think I'm getting the enough support that I should get.
Okay.
It's just that sometimes